I've built a new rubber-powered crossbow pistol, and this one turned out especially nice, I think. I'm just going to show you how to load it, then we're going to do some shooting, and then comes the tutorial. It even has a quite decent recoil. Let's test it on some cans. .5 cans. Really impressive, I think, but let's rearrange this and try it once more. Nice! I wonder how a bolt without any fletching would do. .5 cans. That's cool. To prove it, let's shoot it over the Kronii. Before we get started with the build, I wanna point out that you do not need a lot of fancy tools to make a project like that. You could even get away with the tools that I've arranged here. I've sketched up the trigger assembly and made some copies to use them as templates. I'm sticking the templates onto a piece of 5mm aluminum. Drill the required holes and then start to cut them out. After drilling holes all around our pieces, it's actually really easy to break them free. However, it can help to saw some of these connections apart before breaking the parts free. Now we need to do quite a bit of filing and smoothing and polishing. You want to take great care that the area that will later on touch the string is really polished to a high shine. For the main body of the pistol I use pre-milled hardwood from the hardware store. I'm using the router table to create a slot that will accommodate our trigger parts. Now routing the groove that will guide the arrow. Now I'm changing to a chamfer bit to knock off the edge so it won't eventually damage the string. Now I'm creating a notch that will later on fit our crosspiece, or like the bow on a normal crossbow. This is the trigger assembly. I am carefully marking where I have to drill holes for the pins. Now cutting some 6mm aluminum tubing to the right length. But heck, the pins do not fit. I had to create a reamer out of another section of the same kind of tubing and ream out both holes. I also had to file the holes in our trigger pods just a little bigger. And now everything fits. Here you can already see how the trigger is going to work. For the pod that will hold our pulleys, I'm gluing together 2 pieces of wood, and then I'll stick on my template and cut it out on the bandsaw. And again, chamfering the edges on the router table. Yummy! I'm using construction adhesive to glue both of the wooden parts together. Now shaping the scope mount. Again sticking on the template and cutting it out on the bandsaw. I have attached it to the crossbow with a single screw. I've cut out the arrow clasp on the bandsaw and now glue it to our scope mount. It's important to make any adjustments before the glue hardens. And then add a little more glue to secure it in place. I've prepared those two bolts, which will hold our pulleys securely in place. The pulleys have to be freely rotating, of course. I cut the pistol grip on the bandsaw and then rounded over all the edges on the router table. I also had to create a little slot which will accommodate the trigger. Now I'm finishing all the parts with some coats of spray lacquer. I've bent the trigger spring out of piano wire and now fit it to the handle. Now applying plenty of glue, and then comes the moment of truth. And it still works. Yes! The last step, which is totally optional, is to shape the upper part of our scope mount like a 22mm Picatinny rail, so that we can mount our red dot sight. The very last step is to screw 2 ring screws into the rear of the crossbow and then attach the rubber tubing. Okay, that's it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs up. I thank you for watching. Bye. And comment if you have any questions or something that you wanna tell me.